Hi, everybody, and welcome to the RHAP B&B for episode 8 of Survivor 44. My name is Mike Bloom. I am back again, and I brought with me some degular Survivor to feast upon. Here we are. The merge truly feels like a merge, and with it comes one of the biggest votes and biggest moves of the season so far. Really excited to break down this episode that had everything. It was a gas, in a manner of speaking. Let me bring in our panel to break this down. First, someone I will always partner with. I will stand there, low energy, encouraging her while she is squawking while twisting herself through a net. It's the great Liana Boraas. Liana, how are you?
I'm doing well. You describe me on every podcast. I'm just laying there squawking.
Yeah, people might not see the video version. Liana is always
Yeah.
just on her fainting
Like
couch.
yeah, tangled up somehow, just wailing at not being able to gator roll my way out of the situation. So that's
I,
very fitting for me.
I don't judge. Listen, it's been a long few years. People find the most comfortable ways that they podcast in. You're the exact opposite of a claustrophobic.
Mhm.
And so I think tangling yourself up in a net, as long as you feel like that's the way you want to do things, you do you, boo boo.
Thanks. I'm prostrophobic.
Prostrophobic. Sounds like you're afraid of Jeff Probst.
Well, that too, but for other
Probstophobic.
reasons.
Well, I'm going to bring in a guest this week who's far from probstophobic, considering that he spent 26 plus days out there with the guy. But a year ago, he is ready to get cocky, kid, because he's known as the cockatoo boy. It is the great Omar Zaheer. Omar, how are you?
I am great. Thank you for having me on the legendary B&B. I
Mm.
appreciate it. And this time we can chat together without killing each other in bird costume.
Yes, the first time, I believe.
Yeah, for the first time. How
So it's
exciting.
I don't know how that's gonna play out. Well, I guess we'll just be
Yeah,
nice to each other. I don't
I
know.
I don't
guess.
know.
I
We'll
guess.
see. Time can only tell. We have yet to get to the games. I mean, this is interesting as well, even outside of the goose duck of it all, in that when we saw each other in person, the three of us in Washington, D.C. in the fall, we watched a Survivor episode that brought about this like multi stage, 20-minute long challenge. And now we got to see the version of this as well in the 44 version. So, like, everything old is new again here.
Wait, all right. Michael Bloom. What's your middle name?
William.
Michael William Bloom. Are you accusing Survivor of reusing the same challenge
I
and
mean,
episode setup? My God, they would never do that.
A gasp.
do you think, like, was it that they had built everything and they were like, listen, I don't want to break this down. We'll just use it again. Do you think they just love the image of people twisting in what the 43 cast members refer to as the muddy butthole that they thought, okay, this is reason alone to keep this challenge in?
Firstly, it may not be a butthole. It could be a cloaca. I think it's a bit mammal centric to say it must be a colon. However, I think when you have gold, you do kind of want to repeat it. And that net gave us everything. And this time somehow it even gave us more.
Mm. I
But
yeah.
I loved it.
I will say the Carolyn Carson, just everything about that whole segment was fantastic.
Mhm.
Like, I feel bad for all of the competitors having to go through the cloaca, but like,
Thank you.
I appreciated it from a viewer perspective between Carolyn yelling, Carson's half assed encouragement.
Go, girl, do it. Give us nothing.
Yes, exactly. Jeff Probst also said something that was really funny. He said this was about Carolyn. She's not giving up, but she's a long way from getting out. And that really made me laugh too. So just like I'm okay with keeping it. If it
Well,
gets me
listen, let
that.
me throw something out there to Survivor producers moving forward. We saw tragically what happened to Bruce in the opening seconds of the first challenge. If you want to bring the mud in there, have them start the season with the cloaca. Have them do a challenge where all six of
Yes.
them have to go through the net, one right after the other, to
Ooh.
really separate the adults from the chitlins there.
I love it. I agree. I think everything about this should be modified, brought back in different ways. Can we get a different shape of net next time? I think that might be fun.
Mm.
I'm here. I think it should be a staple and it should be a pre-merge challenge, I think, because that would be really high stakes and more
Mm-hmm.
interesting than the classic obstacle course puzzle.
Would multiple people have to go through it? Can you
Yeah,
imagine like
yeah, yeah.
waiting for like 6 people to have to filter through it? And like what
I
happens if you
mean,
get someone who gets stuck?
I think the cloaca loosens over time, thankfully.
Oh, you think so?
If you
Okay,
get
yeah.
around enough,
Gets
yeah.
stretched out a
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah,
More people that
exactly.
go through it. Yeah,
You go
yeah,
through
yeah.
like, oh, you've been around the block. This tribe has some notches in the bedpost.
It becomes an endurance challenge. They're out there for so long.
Well, let's
Yeah.
let's untangle this episode because it was a good one. I don't think it's coincidental that this has felt like, one of the most straightforward episodes structure wise. I hope that we got sort of like the unpleasantness out of the way, culminating in last week. That now we are moving forward, both from a structural perspective, from an advantage perspective. Something that should be noted is by the end of this episode, Matt's idol is out of the game, Danny's idol is out of the game. We'll talk about it. Brandon's idol may or may not be out of the game. So, relatively, the birdcage slate has kind of been wiped clean, save Carolyn's. So, it has felt like a breath of fresh air in the midst of a lot of production complications this week. Liana, what did you think about this episode? Was it your favorite of the season, as many have been saying?
No, there was a pre-merge episode we really liked. That
We
one.
liked episode 5. I know that
Okay.
you were, and other people understandably were a little hung up about the no tribal council aspect of it all. I think that's why I asked,
Oh.
is that I would say that, like, I think episode 5 was my favorite because that Carolyn, Danny, Brandon scene is like my favorite scene of the season so far. I feel like this might have been the best episode, though, if that makes sense.
Well, we ended with a vote where everyone voted. So like thumbs up. That's great start. Everybody was eligible except for one person. Again, great start. I think that we saw here in this episode though a lot of narrative things that we've already seen though. So we've seen like Carson spilling a plan, right? Because he told Kane when Brandon told him not to about the Josh, like who was going to get the second number of votes. So we see him here talk to Danny and say the thing about how Jam knows about the idol. We got to see people being like Tika's in the middle. We saw the Ratu Soka war, which we've already sort of seen. And so while like to me there was actually nothing new in terms of the storyline, it was nice to have it all finally just come together and be able to be actioned on, if that makes sense.
I agree. And I really liked I do like the culmination of the Ratu Soka war, but I do kind of wish, and it's good that you feel that there was enough buildup to get there, but I do kind of wish they really had solidified Ratu being a voting block a little bit more, because kind of the last time we saw some of these relationships, it's like Brandon was going to be okay with letting Kane go, and Jamie was like, I love Soka more than Ratu. And it's like, I wish we would have, and we haven't seen, unfortunately, much of Lauren at all. So I kind of wish they had like built up this group of 4 as being a bit tighter and a bigger force than they did. But I think that's also a function of time, and then all of these game mechanics that allow the story to not be built up a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, if I'm comparing tribes of a similar name, Ratu kind of came off Rotu-esque in this episode, right? Of like, we are the 4, we're in control, no one can take us down. And yeah, it was a little sudden, as much as you're talking about building things up, Liana. We got like a skosh of that last episode with like, okay, the Ratus want to vote Ahsoka out here over someone who's a bit more on an island on his own than Jam. But I think it's also by proxy of like them not going to tribal council outside of just that absolute mess of a first episode, that maybe the show didn't necessarily feel they needed to dedicate time to. Okay, they're really strong working together at this point. Maybe if we had had more time with them in some capacity, we could have seen that. Yeah, it seems like from what Brandon was saying, both on and off the show, like they were this very cohesive force. And then therefore, when we question the moves that like Heidi, Danny, etc. were making of trying to take them down, was it too soon to do this? Apparently not. If they were just like absolutely going to run away with the game, should they have made it one step further in getting the numbers?
We need to expand upon that though. The Ratu 4, the Rotu 4, who is who?
Oh.
Okay. So I feel honestly like Brandon, though he was the first voted out, I think is the general. I think is the Robert DeCanio.
Because I thought he was Tammy.
Well, I don't
But
know
go
how.
on.
I was gonna say I don't know how he does on stilts. He is the tallest, so he perhaps is on. No, I think Kane's actually taller than Brandon when you see them line up. Which sort of
Mm.
like I don't
The
know.
hair is distracting, though. You never know.
Well, especially with that man
Oh,
bun, which
Yeah.
hachi machi ai chihuahua.
and like the side pieces too that like come out, the
Yeah, he's
little
got-
like wispies on the
flow.
side.
He had a little bit of like a Three Stooges thing going on with like the poofs on the side. I
Yeah.
would say so. I'd say that Brandon is the general and just like his big hulking frame and not being a. I don't know. I wouldn't say he felt like the leader of the Ratus necessarily. I think Jamie is the John Carroll. I think her
What?
her MVP vibes. I'm the most well connected in this game is very much giving me shades of John Carroll. Pascal and Nalia are really rooting for my success in the game. Like I feel like that's more of the one for one that I'm seeing. I would say if I'm going between the other two, I think Kane is the Tammy, I guess, in that I think he is the more strategically minded, I suppose. And I guess that leaves Lauren as the Zoe Xanadakis.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I had a 0 for 4 match for you. I'm shocked. I'm shook. I don't know if I need to reframe everything I've ever been thinking because I feel like
I-
that John Carroll is actually Kane, who
Mm.
is kind of like keeping them together, I think. And then you have Brandon as Tammy, his right hand man or woman. And then you have Lauren as the general because she's solid and on board. And then I think Jamie is the Zoe because I think if Jamie knew they were voting Brandon, she'd boop hop on that train right away.
And now, okay, when I'm hearing, I don't think there's a right answer. They're all wrong answers. Like none of these sound even close to being like I can see Lauren being the general a little bit, kind of, but like nothing else makes sense to me. So I don't think that is a one for one comparison we can do, but I appreciate the thought exercise.
Liana, I've never liked you. It's something about your eyes. Who am I?
I was gonna say your
Uh,
friendship bracelet's in the mail, Liana.
Am I
Yeah.
the Zoe? Oh my god.
Man, maybe
Okay.
Jamie. I could
I
see
think
Jamie
so.
making friendship bracelets for people. And actually, she ended up finding a friendship bracelet, right, in this fake idol that Matthew gave
Yes.
to her.
It's true. It is technically a friendship bracelet if you think about it.
I want to talk about the time frame a bit because this is something that I talked a bit about with Steven on Twitter. And Omar, I would love to get your thoughts on this
Mhm.
because the timeline
Mhm.
seems to have intensified even more than your season, which was, but a year ago, that we have discovered, and maybe it's Wikipedia's lying to me, but this is like the 25% of the time that I believe it's not, that apparently Josh, Matt, and Brandon were all voted off in consecutive days. Josh was day 13, Matt was day 14, Brandon was day 15. Even in your season, in this hyper focused 26 days, you still did tribal council like every other day at the maybe with the exception of like that double tribal council, right, which happened the day after, but still it felt by comparison a little bit more room to breathe. Do you think, as someone who has played through the 26-day format, does this have an effect on the way that people are approaching things, knowing that they had one vote right after another right after another?
I think that I think if you in general it looks like it was more, but I think also we had like because we had the double boot, 3 people still went home in a matter of 2 days. So that did feel like going from the group of 11 to 8 was in a matter of 2 days, and that felt really, really quick. But at the same time, well, because we had the split tribal, we only attended 2 tribal councils ourselves. So like one person was knocked out without having anything to do with you. But I think in terms of how it changes things, I actually don't think it changes things as much as people think it does. And this is why, because the majority of the scrambling and deciding what happens occurs after the immunity challenge anyways. So if you have 2 full days, the first day is, unless it's the final 7 and everyone's going bananas, is a little bit like slow. Like the day before High went home, for instance, we went on that reward, so we were kind of away for a while, and the game play was very, very slow. The day before Chanel got voted out, which was an off day, it was kind of just like keeping her comfortable for that period of time. Although, as we saw in the show, some people are doing a terrible job of that. But I think that the majority of the scramble happens after the immunity challenge. And I think that if you make a plan now, especially in modern day Survivor, if you make a plan too early, and especially before the challenge, especially when sometimes there's a big twist on how things get done, then you are setting yourself up for failure potentially.
Mm. I'm glad to hear you mention that, because I saw that same thing, Mike, with people being like, oh, that's so fast and coming up with plans. Maybe that could explain some unforced errors because there's just not a lot of time to think through it. But I'm sorry, there's no excuse for Brandon going to Danny and Heidi and being like, yeah, we're voting for Annie, get on board or get out. Like, what? Come on, don't blame that on time. Like, maybe blame it on starvation, but don't blame it on the amount of time you have. Like, come on, not to do that. Because you had that conversation with Matt about the idol conversation about how, like, oh, well, Danny led me there. There's a fake idol. What the like, and then actually like, okay, maybe you tell them you're voting for Annie and then vote something else, right? Like, I don't know. It just felt like that didn't make any kind of sense, like giving him leadway for that. It just felt like a stupid move.
Yeah,
I
it was.
agree.
Yeah, it was a weird afternoon, right? Because you have the Ratu side of things, and even outside of like filling everyone in, of course, there is the talk that has especially come out in exit press about like, okay, they did have a split vote plan, but seemingly nobody talked and corroborated before actually going to tribal council, and before they knew it, they had to go. There are the other unforced errors, like Heidi deciding to reveal to Jam Jam and Carson about Danny's idol, and Danny. Perhaps people are questioning the choice for him to reveal in the first place that he would play the idol for Franny. So yeah, it's interesting that maybe in some period of time people feel like, okay, we just gotta like throw all this information out there and like go with the plans that we feel is the first thing that comes to us. But that only makes up to a certain extent for the way people were acting in this episode across the board.
I think people kind of get like when they are deprived, they and especially in a game where you don't really trust everybody, and then you've had a couple of votes where people are working with you and doing what you say, and then you sometimes you get in the easy mindset of like you don't want to, like Ratu may not want to piss off Heidi and Danny who are going to stick around, so in their mind they probably want to like get them on board so that it's an easy clean cut. But you have to avoid that temptation when you really think about it further, because those people are, because I mean it worked with the Josh vote, for instance, like they all kind of got on board for that and went with it, but and they use that as background, like maybe it'll be fine this time, but at some point you have to like realize, well, they don't feel the same way about Franny as they did about Josh, and the harder thing to do is to face conflict and to either make them mad or blindside them and or not talk to them or whatever. And like that breeds conflict. And especially in the game where the game changes every round, sometimes you may be worried about the consequences of that later. So they're thinking if we can get everybody on board, then it's a cleaner cut. But I think that they had to at some point realize that this was not going to, they just weren't going to sit back and continue to eat their own people like that.
Right. I mean, that's the thing is I totally get that from just like a general conflict avoidance, like let's all agree on a decision that we're making as a group, but it's Survivor. You all have competing interests and you all want different things to happen.
We're all arrows going in different directions.
Like we're all just trying to intersect, man. I loved Matt on the jury being like, "Oh my god, that's my girl."
And he's
so
like,
smart.
"Oh yeah." And I think he's also like, I don't know, I was looking like, "Ooh, intersect." Like, yeah.
Ew, Mike.
Michael William Bloom.
Yeah, Michael William Bloom.
No, don't use my newfound middle name against me.
But I think it was funny because Kane has a confessional at the beginning of the episode where he's like, oh, I have a motto out here. Don't get cocky, kid. And then it's like, so based on that, don't get cocky also means don't underestimate your competitors. And I think that that is like such a fatal flaw that people can make. So, and I think that that's kind of what happened here.
Oh yeah, God, well, that's actually, though, Omar, even though you include yourself in it, I think you could exclude yourself to a certain extent because, like, let's talk about the Three Stooges of it all, right? Despite the fact that this might have been a narrative that we've talked about earlier, this really was, I think, truly the first time that they were able to showcase not only where they were, but like how to play the middle so well. I absolutely adore where the three of them end up placing their votes for their respective reasons. What's interesting is, like, obviously they are 3 out of 9, but Omar, it gives me shades of like your Taku 4, right? Being able to navigate through all the other conflicts going on with these other tribe members to the point where you become 4 out of the final 6. Do you foresee a similar path for our Three Stooges here?
Absolutely. And I see Tika as the new Taku and how they are approaching the game. They are being a covert 3 or covert 4 that are working together. They don't bring each other's names up a lot. And then they're also voting differently. So Marianne and I voting differently than Jonathan and Lindsay when Chanel went home, for instance. And then what they didn't show is, hi, Drea, Marianne, and I had a plan to blindside Roxroy before the split tribal council. So what I told Lindsay before that was like, we're going on Roxroy, but you probably need to just stick with the split vote on Tori and Romeo. And that way we feel like we've done this plan without Jonathan and Lindsay. And then that further divides the separation. We didn't talk to each other. And it seems like they're meeting in covert times and they're not necessarily being this obvious threesome in front of everybody. And I think that they're maneuvering it really well. Because they're kind of giving everybody what they want. And even now, 2 people vote on one side, 1 person votes on the other. They still don't look like a cohesive unit. So I do think that their trajectory long-term is going to be very good. Now, the only thing, I think if you kind of liken the characters to one another, I think both Carolyn and Marianne are Carolyn and Jam Jam are like Marianne, and then Carson is giving more like the middle person like I was, and maybe Lindsay a little bit. And I think that the risk of that a little bit is, and I can see Carson talking a lot and making these other relationships with these other people, and then doing the check-in with Jam Jam and Carolyn, as opposed to like these prolonged relationship building events. And eventually, as I learned with Marianne, sometimes you let the kid out too much, they make new friends, So I think that's the danger.
Oh boy, what is this analogy?
I don't
you
even
have the
know.
kid trapped in the basement, and if you let him out too much,
don't let him out.
Gonna make friends.
They leave home. You don't know how good you have it, Marianne, until you leave. But I mean, clearly it was way better. She got a new rich friend. $1 million.
Oh, you're gonna go run away with your $1 million friend now? You're gonna leave your parents behind?
Yeah.
It's so interesting, and I totally agree with you with the Carson side of things. I'm like, I don't know, this is weird to say, but I kind of feel like the edit is doing Carson a disservice, which is so weird because he is getting a lot of content, but I feel like he's talking so much strategy stuff that I feel like, and this is a bit of what I would say about your edit as well, Omer, that like he has a good job talking about the game, that he gets a lot of that focus when it's very clear he's doing incredibly well socially. This is a guy who was approached by Ratus, Sokas, and Tikas in this entire episode, and like was counted among the Ratus. It wasn't, okay, we're bringing in Carson. He was fully there with Jamie, with with Brandon, with Kane, talking things through. And I wonder if it's just that the social game's hard to represent, or just that Carolyn and Jam Jam represent more like the fun character side, and so they want to show Carson as like the brains behind the operation. But I don't know, Liana. I feel like they're almost underrating how well Carson must be getting in amongst, everything else. Like his immune system, he's very under the radar when it comes to getting along with people.
As long as he doesn't have that peanut butter and jelly curse, I guess, whatever he said. So a few things. So first, on the Carson note, so I noticed the same thing, that when Brandon was listing the Ratu members, he listed Carson in that list, not included him as part of Tika. Danny also included Carson as part of the 4 that were going to be included in the blind side. It was going to be the 3 Soka plus Carson. So that was very interesting to see him play that position. I'm very curious to see what ends up happening further down the line, because right now it looks good, right? He's in with Soka, but he voted with Ratu, so he has like that to go off of. But at a certain point of that ping-ponging back and forth, right, something's going to catch up to him. So that's one thing that I'm waiting for, and I can't wait to see when that happens, because I do think it will happen, potentially. The other thing is about the Tika Three Stooges situation, which is, there's like, as you both are talking about, there's also a lot of evidence to suggest that they are distancing themselves in certain ways, because even Brandon in this episode says Carolyn will go with Jam Jam. Whatever Jam Jam does, Carolyn will do. They voted differently. So that's like so interesting to see that even within just one episode of moments where it's like, even when they're predicted to vote together, they don't. So they're challenging that status quo of them being a group of 3.
And not that we're assigning Chizzy points here, but the question could be who had the most agency and who had the best pull in getting what happened to happen with
Mhm.
Danny playing the idol correctly on Franny. And obviously, we don't know the full story, and there's only so much they can show. But I do wonder, based on what they showed, if you can assign the most credit, if you will, to Carson, because he is the one that there's a very key conversation with Danny and him right before Tribal where Danny's like freaking out and be like, I need to play the idol for me. They're going to come for me. And Carson is really the one to like smooth it over. He's like, I have relationships with Jam Jam. I can like figure it out. You don't have to worry. Your plan will go through. And I think that without Carson there, the plan may fall apart because it's easy to like go into self-preservation mode when anything is threatened. But he's the one that has the social capital to make it all kind of go through the way he wants. And I do think it was a mistake a little bit for just based on what we've seen for Danny to reveal he has the idol and make the idol part of the vote flip plan. Because if you look at it objectively, like Tika should want to vote out a member of RHAP now. Anyways, there's 4 of them. And you don't need your idol to do that. But when you give them the out of the idol, they can still maintain their undercover nature and burn your idol. And I think that he should have waited to see if they wanted to do it to begin with before going in and making that move in a way that he wouldn't have to reveal
100%.
That's classic negotiation, right? Like, you don't come in saying, like, I will give you...
I'm not going to rocks.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, to quote another member of your cast, right? To be like, all right, let me put something out there. $1 million. And you're like, sir, you're buying a donut. Like, no, you want to be able to present that perhaps as a trump card later on. I totally agree with you about how it does feel to me, at least, that Carson was the linchpin of the plan. Brandon told me as much in my exit interview with him. He said basically, like, if Carson didn't want this plan to happen, he would be the one to stop it. He could be the one. I know we get the foreshadowing of, oh, is Jam Jam going to leak the information? But like Carson seemed to be the one to hold the cards to say, if he doesn't want a Ratu to go home, he could just as easily leak the plan from happening. That being said, you segued so beautiful, Omar. Let's talk about what I think is the big talking point of the week, right? Which is, now, granted, we have limited information and we are not seeing ahead to next week outside of this next time on as to like how this will bear out. But Liana, right now, let me take your temperature. Do you think Danny made the right decision in playing the idol for Franny?
I mean, no. I think so. So I think that there's like several decision points, right? So the first is like, if you see this very clear group of three different groups, and they're working, like Soka is working on getting Tika to vote with them. That should be like plan number 1, option number 1. It just feels like such an odd choice to just out of nowhere being like, okay, but I'm going to play the idol. Like, you could mention it maybe to Heidi as a backup, but what it allowed Tika to do was allow them to continue to play the middle. And Jam Jam has a fantastic confessional about this. I am trying to get through tonight and set myself up tomorrow to have allies or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing. And I think that the Danny idol play allowed them to do just that. You see Carson and Jam Jam both voting with the Ratu majority, which allows them to stay nicely in that middle position instead of forcing their hand and make, if they truly want to vote that way. And you always have the idol as a backup if absolutely necessary. Assuming you want to keep the 3 together. Because that's the other thing too, is like, okay, let Franny go. Like, keep your idol. Play in a smaller group if you think that that's a way that you can maneuver.
Yeah, pull the Terry Dietz, right? Let connections go in honor of keeping that idol in your pocket.
I don't know. I kind of think I agree that he should have like tried to make the flip happen without playing the idol. But I think when it came down to it, if he wasn't able to get traction there and he felt like Franny was going home, I personally think that giving her or playing the idol on her was the right call to preserve numbers and agency in the game, because the more allies you lose, the less room you have to maneuver later down the line. But also, this is coming from the guy who was very tribe loyal and then got murdered by them. So maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I'm inclined to agree with Omar at this point that like it felt like there were going to be consequences either way. I think bar none, the Tikas were the winners of this week in that, even though maybe besides Franny, who, is able to survive when theoretically she should have gone home with 6 votes against her. I do feel like Danny was a little handcuffed that, yes, he does reveal the idol information to Heidi. I think he assumes that it would be kept between him and his closest ally. I do not think he expected Heidi to leak the information and therefore have to feel like, okay, I have to do this now because otherwise you're going to look like a dick. If it's like, hey, I'm gonna do this thing, I don't think so. I mean, look at what happened to Ty and Co Wrong, right? Of like, that's a really tough thing to do. I also wonder if there is, oddly enough, like a bit of a benefit in getting rid of Danny's idol here from Danny's perspective, because people were seemingly speculating that he had the idol, right? That's why the whole split vote plan came from in the first place. It didn't even come from the information that Danny has an idol. Apparently, Jam Jam came to Brandon and said, okay, Danny is throwing your name under the bus. And Brandon's like, okay, just in case one of them has an idol. We've seen the amount of times they've gone after Lauren for having an extra vote. Imagine if they find out that Danny has an idol, like then he becomes, I think, public enemy number one. I think honestly, it may help him a bit to shed this and try to lower his threat level a bit.
I mean, yeah, but then don't go idol hunting like a madman.
I mean, listen, Danny's gonna Danny at the end of the day.
But that's what I'm saying is like, okay, sure, I understand that from a purely on paper perspective, but for a player like Danny, who clearly seems to want like big moves and wants to make a statement, even if there's just one person on the jury, he wants that idol play. He was the one who was like, we need to keep it small. Like he wasn't even saying, let's try to get Tika on board and we all vote. And as a backup plan, I play the idol. It was like, no, I want this idol play to work. Like I purposefully even want the people who I think could vote with me to not vote with me. Like that's Danny's MO. So like, yes, Mike, on paper, I totally get that. But for a player like Danny, that's not going to work.
And what's interesting is that I totally agree that he wanted that big moment and that may not have been the right thing. But also what Mike had said earlier was Tika's the winner in this whole situation. But I think the beauty of that whole thing is that Ratu thinks that Soka is the winner and Soka thinks Soka is the winner.
Yes, exactly. Right. That Soka walks away. Heidi even is like, great, my big plan was a great success. Like all this, the Sokas are feeling really good about themselves. The Ratus are feeling worse about themselves, but they're blaming Soka for it primarily, right? Because from their perspective, Tika didn't flip. Oh, Carolyn joined up with the Sokas, but at this moment, like Soka was the one that made all these moves. And look, if the final vote was had right now, the Tikas would not be in a good spot. But this is perfect for them at the moment where like now the Ratus and Sokas are still, I imagine, still warring with each other. I don't know. Where do we think things are going next? Do we expect a erratification, if you will, of just like wiping out the remaining three? Do you think there's a chance that like the Tikas may say, okay, now it's time to start taking out Sokas? Do you think the Sokas at a point might say, yeah, you know what? Wait, the Tikas have been kind of running the middle right now. I think we need to get them gone. Liana, where do you see things going after this vote?
Well, based on like narratively speaking, the Heidi with the Misfits, aka the other Tika members, and maybe Franny, she didn't mention her by name, but there was like a physical shot of her, and we know that she was okay with Matt leaving because it brings Heidi and Franny closer together. Like I see that group pretty strong. Like that group of five. I think I can see that group of five moving forward together. So whether or not we get in the preview that Danny is a potential target, I have a feeling like we're going to see another Ratu member go here. Just in my gut, that's what I'm feeling.
Watch out, Liana.
I know. Don't worry. We're okay here. So that's what I would think is going to happen next. I think also for some reason that fear of Lauren's 2 votes is like really scary and people are just weirdly fixated on it. So I need that to come to a head somehow.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder if, so I guess between the 3 factions, like they really should be identifying Tika from the perspective that we see. It's just that I don't see how they could see that from where they're at. And so it's very difficult to do that. I think they need a few more rounds to sniff that part of it out.
What they need is the confessional viewing advantage, where you get to go into the production camp, a la Outlast. You get to see footage of someone in confessional, and you're like, wait a minute, they've been playing us the whole time.
Hey, oh my God, that'd be so funny. Can you imagine? Oh, people would be so mad.
But I do think it's almost like a situation where Soka, you know, they made this big move. Now they're riding high. But they could get, I feel like it could be Ahsoka that goes home next because it's like they think they made this big move that changed their position, but really was Tika allowing them to do so. And they don't realize that. And now Tika's still undercover a bit with Ratu. So why not continue to like work with them a little bit? So I do wonder if they could turn it on somebody like Danny at this point. Although it was kind of suggested in the preview by Carolyn, and the preview is misleading a lot, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I will say I'm fearful for Franny. I know she felt like she's out of the woods right now, but I think that I don't know. I'm seeing shades of like Ricard for Franny here. Remember during the Shan vote, Ricard's name got thrown out and Shan squashed it. But then, like, every vote thereafter, the minority was like, put votes on Ricard. We got to keep voting Ricard. Ricard's the biggest threat. Like, there's a reason why Franny was the target, right? As Brandon outlines, she's smart. She just whooped his ass in a physical challenge. She has been like really good at all of these challenges. I feel like while she was obviously spared here, I could see a situation where, like, if the Ratus continue to be on the back foot, they keep voting for her. And then maybe the word starts kind of spreading to other people's heads of like, wait a minute, yeah, Franny has a guaranteed jury vote right now, maybe a couple with the narrative that she's building, and she's really good at all this stuff. So as much as Liana, I do agree that like maybe in a world, this quintet of misfits could be like our possible 5 making the finale. I do worry that Franny has not escaped the chopping block just yet.
I don't know how I feel. I keep like, I'm all over the place with how I feel about Franny because in the pre-merge, I felt like her relationship with Matt. So, okay, whenever we were told about her relationship with Matt, Matt's perspective was like, I love Franny. And Franny's perspective was like, strategically, this is beneficial to me because blah, 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 blah. So, like, I saw them so different. He was like the love struck puppy, and she was like, I'm the strategic force here. But that has sort of died off. And so now I'm like, I don't know what to feel about Franny in terms of her story and her position in the game because it felt so tied to Matt. And now that Matt is gone, we're not getting those continuing sort of confessionals about her strategic game. It was like Matt went home and I'm sad was like all we heard from her. And then even though the vote, as she mentioned, is coalescing around her, we don't even really see that much from her in terms of what she's thinking. And that scares me, which makes me feel like she doesn't have agency from a storytelling perspective.
I think that might be kind of, I think the way things happen for her is it almost seems a bit like on paper, a bit passive. Like obviously there's a lot of active stuff that goes into it with her relationship with Danny, and he feels comfortable and solid enough with her to play the idol. But from just like an optics perspective, he's the one that kind of made the big bold play. He's the one that went out of his way to blow up Ratu, and they don't really blame her for voting for them when they voted for her.
Right.
So I think this is the point. Yeah, I think this is the point where kind of like Jam Jam, who had the name on him through no, like he was able to escape that, but he didn't really do anything crazy to do so, that he can kind of slip under the radar. I think there's a projection for Franny where she can do the same. The only thing is that, do they identify the threat of having somebody, the jury 4 person, being 100% behind someone? Because that is something that is very true, but it's also not, like, I don't know how well known that concept is. Like the first person in the jury sets the tone quite a bit. And I think that is something that I'm not sure if there's certain things that all these super fans are aware of. Like, I think now most of them, at least to some degree, know. I mean, I guess a lot of them are sharing their advantages. I don't know. There's just things and I don't know if that's like common knowledge.
Yeah, well, because I think even when Ponderosa was a thing, it wasn't focused around the game aspect that occurs in that area, right? It was almost always about like, what fun thing am I doing in this episode? What gimmick, what rap video am I doing right now? Instead of like, oh, let's talk about how we're viewing the people currently left in the game amongst these people that are eventually going to vote for a winner. So I think it is something where you can do all the deep dive research that you want to and plunge into the frigid waters of the Survivor iceberg. But if you're kind of like, watching at the surface level, as I imagine, even like a lot of these super fans on this season are doing, they're probably not keeping it at the top of their head, to your point. Like, yeah, usually the first person that comes in there, despite them having the least amount of like direct information from participating in the game up to that point, is the one that sets the tone as to like how each person is received walking into Ponderosa.
Yeah, it's almost like so I think getting voted out is like an emotional black hole. Like you had everything that you were about you, and then it gets rocksroid to your core, and everything is empty. So then you're like, you go into a situation, you need to fill that with something. And so if you're the first person in there and you take it like it's a game, whatever, let's move on, then you will like help fill that into the next person that comes in who has a void. and also you have the seniority of being there first, so people that kind of look to you for guidance and stuff like that. And the people coming in, the people before them, you outlasted them, so you don't have any angst necessarily towards them, so you're looking to them for some sort of guidance. And then you can easily fill that void with either like upsetness or that void with whatever, it's a game. And I think that is important. And then also now people are going to be primed to like love Franny when they come in, because Matt's championing that.
Yeah.
And then it's like a domino effect. It keeps going.
All right, I want to bring up one more thing before we get in here. Look, we're the B&B. We're going to talk about the fart. We got to talk about the fart. It feels like we would be missing the mark with our arrow. I have a theory. So this episode, we had, of course, Danny's flatulence become a point during the challenge. We also had Carson's gastrointestinal distress. Because the new era is primed as so dangerous, is there a chance they lace the chips with the peanut butter and jelly reward? Or is that, well, I'm thinking back in the day, I'm not sure. I don't know, Omar, if this ended up like breaching Canadian news, but there was a period of time where the Lay's potato chips had news where they were putting Olestra in their chips, which was like a dietetic, like something to help you lose weight. It did, in a manner of speaking, in that it caused a lot of people to have irregularities with their bowel movements.
Oh, wow, that's presumptuous of them.
And so I'm looking at the past and I'm saying, like, listen, there's a very easy way if you were to sabotage some sort of food reward to prove that you always got to be on your toes. This might be the way to do it.
This sparks an idea for me that I think maybe there was, okay, this is what I think happened. I think they lace one of the chip bags with Olestra. Then whoever gets that starts puking and going to the bush to puke, and in the bush is a clue to the idol nullifier, and Carson missed it.
Yes. I heard a rumor they were going to do that with Ben Driebergen, actually. That's how they were going to give him one of his idols. But they never went through.
Yeah, they said like, okay, well, first we tried burying it right next to the hole where he buries his poop, but we thought like he'll probably be paying attention to other things.
Right. Yeah. Focused on something else, facing the wrong direction. Yeah. Yeah, that's a ridiculous statement, Mike. I mean, I know we say a lot of ridiculous things here, but I can't believe that you would proposition such a thing. I mean, if anything, isn't flatulence a sign of like health, like your bowels are performing correctly?
Not particularly. Not really. It's overproducing gas for some reason.
Right.
Maybe he has a gluten intolerance he doesn't know about and would benefit from a low FODMAP diet.
Okay, so we're diagnosing Danny. Maybe, I don't know.
What is there to even fart 24 hours after you eat a PB&J sandwich? Like, come on.
Well, that's because, okay, but again, there was a conversation about like whether or not it was a sound effect. So I'm just saying we have to consider that as well. Or at least amplified, right? Because they're not miking his butt.
I mean, it could be a sound effect. Maybe Danny like smuggled in a fart button.
Oh, or like a whoopee cushion.
And he's been waiting for the exact moment. Because remember, I guess we had like the boom pole challenge, but he couldn't reach for it. So he's like, okay, this is it. The perfect challenge. Let me roll out the practical joke. I mean, we have to wait for him to win immunity so that he shakes Jeff's hands and like an electrical buzzer goes off.
Oh my God. I had literally the exact same thought. I'm like imagining him out there with like, you know, those ropes that you just like keep pulling, or like a hat, and all of a sudden like he's got a wand and like a mat, like a rabbit comes out, like one of those things.
Topical.
He's like a close-up magician. He's got coins. He's like pulling them from behind. He's like, "Where's your shot in the dark, Matt? Oh, you thought you left it back at camp," and he like whips it out.
No wonder why he wanted to work with Brandon. Brandon loved doing magic.
Yes, we love close-up magic.
So is that what Danny should have done with his idol, you think? He's like, Jeff, what's behind your ear? It's my idol.
Ooh.
Jeff, I'd like to play that. And then, you know, Jeff's like, what are you talking about? You can't you want to play the podium? Right? He's like pulling back.
You want to play the thing that's behind my ear?
Yeah. And he's like, no, how about this? Oh my God, that's why one of them was a coin. The idols. Remember how it was a coin and a bracelet?
Yes. I think you're onto something.
Danny's idol was the coin.
Oh my God. See, I told you.
What? No, you didn't.
I'm saying it now, okay? It counts.
1 minute ago counts as past
Yes.
tense.
Oh my god, I knew it.
I mean, that's what Danny does have, like, big Uncle Danny vibes, right? Like,
Wait,
Yeah,
Uncle.
sexy Uncle
Oh,
Danny.
not like Bob Saget.
no, not like
Oh
Bob
no,
Saget.
not.
He's more of a Joey, you know?
Yeah, no,
Uncle
he's good.
Joey?
I would say like
Carrot
a,
Top.
a Joey inside of a Jesse body, right? Because he sort of
Yeah,
has
yeah,
the
yeah.
kind of like cool struggle. Like I would see him riding a motorcycle and playing in what was it, Jesse and the Rippers. Danny ripped
Mm.
one actually this
Oh,
past
yeah,
episode.
true.
But this
True that.
idea of like, I don't know if he's exactly the neat freak that Bob Saget is, but I think he definitely has that energy of like, hey, come over here. I'll pay you $5 and I'll teach you a swear word. Like he definitely has that
Yeah.
type of energy to him. And so it would make sense to me how this was a long sought out thing. People have a bucket list when they go onto Survivor, and Danny's is just a little more unique than everyone else's.
Mhm. He is most likely to use a whoopee cushion and give a noogie, but I don't think he would give a wedgie. I don't think
Okay.
he's that kind of guy.
What about a shoving in lockers? I don't get that.
I
From
don't think
him.
so.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
I did like, speaking of Danny, the talk to the hand moment that he gave to Jam Jam
Yes.
after when Jam Jam came to like, I
High
don't
five
know,
him,
high
yeah.
five him or something. He's like, talk to the hand because the face don't understand.
I think that was a rare character break moment for Danny where he lost his lightheartedness and like true emotion. I love it.
It's like, F you guys.
Yeah, I think he was in it, right? Like I think he felt like he was going to win, and he was finally able to dispatch of his long sought out mortal enemy in Lauren, and then Lauren ends up beating him after all this.
Maybe he
It's a
thought the
feud we
Bart would
never know we needed.
the hidden idol, the very obvious 2 votes. Maybe he thought that the fart would like propel him upward and like keep him elevated in the little
Or
chamber.
chemical warfare, you know?
Oh, that too.
Listen,
Yeah, shoot us with a
Russell
gas
Hands
mask.
burn socks. Danny hotboxed the challenge so that someone would pass out from the noxious fumes.
I actually had a dream where he died last night.
Danny?
No. Russell. Yeah.
I'm debating if we unpack this or just pretend like Omar didn't say anything and we move on.
I don't think we can't. I'm not going to let sleeping dogs lie here. Was this like you opened up the newspaper and his obituary was there? Were you there in the moment that Russell shuffled off his...
It was on Instagram. And I said, oh, all right.
I mean,
that
I guess
was your reaction.
Well, listen, I think, tragic Survivor news when it comes to alumni is in the brain. I think just given the tragic events around Keith Nail, Cancer. So yeah, like I think that makes sense. Yeah, that's just interesting though, that you would kind of put not even 2 and 2 together, like 2 and orange together to come up with this weird dream.
Listen, I also had a dream where a giant cookie ate me, so who knows?
Were you trying to eat it back as it was eating you?
No, I was trying to run away, and then this
Oh.
old lady was supposed to help me, but then she turned into a skeleton and started helping the cookie.
The
Oh my
skeletons and
God.
cookies, they're low key and league together.
That's so
People don't
rude.
realize it. Big Bo.
I think I need to go to therapy.
Well, dreams aside, yes, but also because of the dreams.
Well, Omar, it's your turn for analysis here. You have to dive into the depraved minds of Liana and I as we get into
Ooh.
what our preseason predictions were for Brandon Cottom. So, Liana, how did you think Brandon was going to do preseason?
So I did say that he would make the jury. So thumbs up there.
There you go.
I said, so I thought Ratu was going to get demolished in the pre-jury. So
Even more than Tika?
Yeah. So come merge, he is only one of 2 remaining Ratu members and is in desperate need of allies. Thankfully for him, the Tika v Soka war is raging strong.
You were right there.
I know. And he slots in the middle between the 2 groups. This keeps him safe for a few tribals, but Brandon wins 2 individual immunities, which puts a huge target on his back. In general, Brandon plays it safe, not wanting to look stupid or make his family look stupid, so he doesn't swing for the fences with a big move, trademark, that would have saved him. He is voted out the same episode, and Jeff Probst is disappointed in him for not making a big move, trademark. His ally was Jamie, and his enemy was Danny. So, like...
Oh, wow. And you know what? For a while, we thought you were wrong because they were BFFs,
I
and
know.
then now, but the true final destination of it all, I
know. It ended up being
this has a
right.
lot. You have a lot to overcome there, Mike.
I have a
Okay,
lot
come
to
on,
live
Mike.
up to here. All right. So I also had Brandon making the jury.
Okay.
Wait, I like how both of you were like, we both had Brandon making the jury, as if that was such a hot take.
The big,
Well,
strong,
no,
athletic guy would survive.
Yeah, we're
in,
real
like,
tastemakers
small-
here. We're going against the grain. I think
I
this
know,
big
right?
former
Look at
football
us.
player, he's got big jury vibes to me.
How could we have known?
I mean, listen, for all intents and purposes, though, had things gone a different way, he could have been first voted out of the season.
Right?
That's true.
So I said that he will try to put the target on Maddie initially for going out and looking for idols in the very beginning.
Oh. No.
I
Between
can't breathe. Okay.
Between his magic tricks and piano playing, his surprising hand-eye coordination skills will pay off when he wins an individual immunity challenge, parentheses, but not the one you think. He'll say the phrase, quote, in the NFL at least 3 times over the course of the season. The pre-merge will be a relatively safe time for him, given his strength and the fact that his low-key attitude won't ping on anyone's radar. After the merge, he becomes one of the first casualties of the, quote, brains versus brawn alliance, going out during the split tribal council. Okay, that could have happened in another world. Final 10. His closest ally was Matthew. His enemy was Maddie. And a randomly generated phrase for Brandon was, Jason lived his life by the motto, anything worth doing is worth doing poorly.
Wow,
True.
this is incredible. Those were both so close in different ways. Do I get to judge the winner of this
Yeah,
point?
it's all you, man.
Oh my god!
You're the Tika here between me and Liana as the
Yeah.
Ratu or Soka, or in Liana's case, the Tika versus Soka.
Wow. So the thing is, Mike was a little bit more accurate overall. However, he didn't really swing for the fences as Jeff Probst wanted Brandon to. Whereas Liana really went out there in some very weird specifics. And but she's almost like that medium that is just like not quite right, like it's like it was really Carson the whole time, so I mean she swung for the fences and got a narrative that was so close, but yet she switched Ratu and Tika, so I have to give it to Michael William Bloom because he got the Maddie thing exactly right, and then Matthew did save him with information. And he did have he didn't have a risk-free pre-merge, but yeah, it was a very close one. And I told you, Mike, it was going to take a lot for you to beat Liana, but
he gave
here
a
we
lot.
are.
Yeah,
I feel bad I took it away from Mommy, but
child, you're in timeout.
You have to stay in the basement now. Go meeting your rich friends.
You can't hang out with your sister.
I want to ask about Brandon really quickly, because I've seen some people feel like in breaking down his game that like they felt he had an old school mentality in a new school season. Omar, do you see that at all as someone who played in a new school season?
The thing is, I think there is I don't think so for him, and here's why. I think that I think in general, the different distinction between new school and old school is a little bit overblown in the media, personally. Because I will say, and this season could be different because it's full of game mechanic changes and all of these advantages. But some could also say that Survivor 42 was very advantage heavy in some ways. And a lot of them didn't actually play out successfully. However,
Drea had like 4 of them.
Yeah. And also I had something that they didn't even show on the show. Like they were cutting advantages out of the show. So it's like, but in the moment there, it did not feel like those advantages were driving a lot of gameplay. It did not feel like they were that important. It felt like the social connections and the alliances you were making were far more important. And so like, I would say 70% of your strategic day is still geared towards classic Survivor social game and strategic relationships. And that it's only like, then you consider the advantages. And okay, well, how do we play it because of this? And so I felt that it was still more old school than it was being given credit for. But on the final TV product, they have to focus on these advantages and game mechanics to explain them to the audience. So proportionally, they seem more important than I feel that they were. I don't know if other people feel that way, though, to be fair. In this current iteration, I feel like a very old school player like Brandon would have just been like, I got my alliance, I'm sticking to it, and that's that. But if you look deeper, he had a relationship with Kane that he described further in his RHAP exit interview, where he was like, yeah, I know Kane and I we were going to have to go at each other again, but right now it made strategic sense for us to play together, and that's that. And I think that that is a new school mentality. That is a new era mentality of like, you've got to strike before you get struck at, and you have to take out the top dog. And it's very hard now to play a Kim Spradlin, Boston Rob, JT type of game and win now. Now you have to be more under the radar for a greater period of the game and then make your moves towards the end. And I think that that's the shift. But also Survivor is cyclical. Not to be philosophical, but like,
no, Carson got pretty cyclical this episode.
Yeah, he did. But I think that like the things like right now, what are the hot button issues? You know, the hot button issues are women go home early, and the groundhog that I worked on told me that would continue this year. So
for 6 more weeks.
6 more weeks, yeah.
I mean, when you say worked on, it makes me feel like you're the one psychoanalyzing its dreams.
No, I told him, I said, Wyerton, please no. And he said, it is what it is. So I think that, you know, that's top of mind. And what the other thing that's top of mind is bigger characters winning instead of like the more classic threats. So how will that play out when that's top of mind for these people that are going out there now and in a few weeks or whatever it may be? Like that's going to be the headline. And there's always a delay between what we see and the evolution of the game because of the way they film.
I think that, you know, the reason why that might be a stronger narrative about Brandon is particularly because of this episode, because I feel like the whole, like, we are in the majority, the minority needs to get on board or get out, right? Like, I feel like that could be construed as old school. But I think all the things that Omar mentioned, in addition to, I would say, finding the idol, playing the idol in the first tribal council and sending someone home with 1 vote, that to me does not scream old school Survivor either.
I don't know. Back in the days when they had a final 2, there was someone who sent one person home with 1 vote. It was just at the very end of the game instead of the very beginning.
But that's what I'm saying. It was at the very beginning of the game, right? So I think that those kinds of things, you cannot be an old school player. You know, again, and play in the, like, it's just because the game is just different. It's just different, right? And so,
well, Roxroy tried.
He's out there building shelters on Exile. Yeah.
One final thing I want to ask about Brandon is something that was surprisingly in a secret scene. I am a little stunned that we did not take like 2 minutes out of the episode to show this in the real episode. And maybe this will play into the question that I'm going to ask is Brandon's fake idol. As we know, he found the birdcage publicly. He got his real idol and this fake idol of just this like garish triangular medallion. It turns out we get a scene of Kane looking for an idol that perhaps hidden post-merge. He accidentally finds Brandon's fake idol that he hid when they found out they were merging at Ratu camp. He said, oh, people are coming here. Let me wrap this up in my parchment, hide it somewhere so that maybe some unlucky Gus will stumble upon it and think that they have an idol. Brandon was voted out, and at the end of that scene, Kane does go back and hide it. Liana, what do you think the chances are that we see someone find this fake idol in the coming episodes?
I'm probably reading too much into it. The fact that it was like in the secret scene, like what does that tell us? The fact that it wasn't in the main episode. So if it's not in the main episode, I kind of feel like, but they did bother to show it at all. So maybe I'm going to assume no, though. It'd be great if Danny finds it because we see him out there like crazy idol hunting. And it'd be interesting because he's the one who knows that the fact that there's a fake and a real idol. So if he sees it, is he going to question that and be like, oh, is this real? Is this fake? Like, do I need to second guess everything that I know about idols?
I didn't see the secret scene, but I'm going to have to go look at it now. But can you clarify? So Kane knew it was fake then?
Yeah, so remember that everyone was around the birdcage when Brandon pulled out the real and fake idols. So he immediately finds it and says, oh, he goes like, congratulations, you found a hidden immunity idol. Holy crap, 1 in a million shot. Insert Star Wars quote here. Oh, wait, this is Brandon's fake idol. And he actually goes back to Brandon and is like, I found it. And Brandon laughs like, yeah, I hit it pretty good, right?
I think if it's going to come up, it's probably going to come up this episode because now that an idol's been played, people are going to scramble to look for one. So,
yep.
But I agree with Liana, probably not because it wasn't in the main show.
Yeah, I would imagine that's the case as well, which I'm fine with on the one hand because it's like, good, we've simplified things considerably the past couple of weeks. Let's not further complicate things. But it is interesting that like, if indeed Brandon's idol gets left behind a rock, that the birdcage twist is essentially done. Save Carolyn's idol, right? This twist that initially put 3 real idols and 3 fake idols in the game from the jump is now done a little over halfway through the season. Well, let's talk about not only bird that belongs in bird cages, but perhaps other animals as well. As Omar, we would be remiss to have you as a guest to not bring you in and try to relate some of these Survivor 44 contestants to animals. And to that point, I believe you have a game for us.
Yes, just like my favorite Survivor before going on ever. And now Marianne's my favorite Survivor ever. Not
Did
even
she
me.
pay you to say that? She does have $1 million.
She told me if I announced it on the podcast, she would come back home. But
she's like holding herself. She's holding today's newspaper. Homer, you have to say that you miss me or I won't come back home.
She ran away to Australia to get away from me. But Kim Spradlin. And you know what? I had the honor of giving Kim Spradlin an animal, but she didn't like it.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Oh.
I said she was a secretary bird. And then she went on a podcast and said, he gave me a secretary bird and they're so ugly. And I was like, that is not true. They are so beautiful and fun and smart.
Like Kim Spradlin. Oh, I can see why she, from the visual perspective, why she may not appreciate it.
Has like permanent bed head. It's like
it's
like that Nick Nolte headshot.
It's a style icon, just like Kim. You know, I actually almost, you know, Kim's Winter at War shirt, the tiger stripe thing. I almost bought the boy version of that and submitted it for my clothing, but it was too expensive.
I mean, listen, you know, from those those forsaken opportunities should rise the greatness of course, the emu shirt. But like at the same time, imagine if just really on the nose you went out there wearing tiger stripes as an exotic animal pet.
It's literally the same shirt but cut like a man shirt, so it was actually amazing. But you know, maybe I'll buy it anyway. We'll see. But now
get Marianne to buy it for you when she comes back
I'll buy
home.
it with the tax money I didn't have to pay Canada. Woo-hoo. Okay. Anywho, so
you could write it off.
I have matched the 18 Survivor 44 contestants to an animal. And before all these listeners go, I don't even know what that animal is. Well, what do you want me to do every season? Just name them tiger, sheep, bear? Like, come on. They have to be more specific than that. There's nuance. And you know, you have the internet now. It's so readily available. It's on your phone. We may show pictures here. I don't know what more to tell you. But some of these animals are specific. And I'm sorry if you don't know how to Google. Like, that's it. So each of these, I also have put together a list of 18 animals plus 10 dummy animals that are decoys.
Oh, how dare you, Omar? Every animal's smart.
Yes. Wait, fake animals? Fake idols?
10 stupid animals.
Yes. Look at that. Where's the dum-dum music? I can't wait to play that.
Yeah, is there a dodo in here?
Wow. Okay, first of all, a dodo, rest in peace. They trusted people too much and they died because of it. And that's not on them.
It's a good metaphor for Survivor, I feel like, right?
Survivor is like a dodo. They trust too much in
trust people too much.
You'll go extinct.
Okay, so I'm going to explain the game mechanics to you all. And this is a little bit like, so basically I'm going to start with, I'll start with Liana because she's mommy.
Yes.
So Liana gets to choose whether I give her the name of the animal or the person. Okay. And then she has the choice of guessing the other match. Basically, so if I give her the animal, she has to guess the person. If she can guess it without a clue, then she gets 3 points. If she can guess it, she can ask for a clue, and then she could get 2 points for guessing it right. And then if she gets it wrong, Mike has the opportunity to steal and earn either 1 or 2 points, depending on whether the clue has been revealed or not. It's a little twish for you. There's a little bit more than your average B&B game, so my apologies.
That's okay. We have you to keep score. So
yeah, exactly. And what I will let you both decide. You have some agency in the game as well. This is your game, you know, as they say. So I have 18. We can go to whatever number you want, and then we can give the rest as bonuses or use them as tiebreakers.
Okay, let's do it.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay. So well, how far are we going?
Till I win. And then
Question
we'll
mark.
stop. So if we get one right, that's it. We're done. Just
Well, no,
one.
listen. I mean, listen. I won't say we have nothing but time here, but I am intrigued to see where all 18 match up. So maybe we'll try. Let's aim for 18 right now.
Okay.
See how quick of a clip we go at, and then maybe we'll, if anything, we'll yada yada through. The
Okay,
last
I think
6 or
we'll
7.
do 17, and if there's a tie,
Oh,
we
true.
can.
Yeah,
I
okay.
have a tiebreaker with the last person. However, we can. If it's not close, we'll just do 18 for fun.
Okay.
How about that? Okay.
All right.
So, Liana, would you
Yes.
like the person or the animal?
I would like the animal.
You would like the animal. Okay.
Yes.
The first animal.
Was that like a good thing? I can't tell.
I don't know.
From your tone.
The first animal is
Yes.
the golden eagle.
Okay.
Ooh.
And also, just so everybody at home knows, I have done this list on random.org. So there is no rhyme or reason to the order in which these people reveal themselves. It's a random number generator, baby.
Okay. So now can I see a picture of it, or is that part of the hint?
You can see and absolutely see a picture of it.
Again, you have
Okay.
Google, as
I'm
Omer
gonna, yes, as
chastised the
Omar
audience
said,
with.
yes, I have Google. Okay, looking at the picture, I think I'm gonna play it safe to start, and I would like the hint.
Okay, so the hints of this game, I will list 3 to 4 descriptive words that fit both the person and the animal.
Okay,
And
that's
so
smart.
our words are athletic,
Okay.
focused, and reliable.
Oh, athletic, focused, and reliable. Okay. So I am going to, oh my God, watch it be Bruce. Okay, I'm gonna go with you know what? I'm gonna go with the boot this episode. I'm gonna say Brandon.
Mother knows best. It is Brandon.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, fantastic.
2 points for Liana. So yes, Brandon, focused, laser focused, very athletic,
Yep.
can kill anything, but didn't see this one coming. So maybe it's like Carson was like avian influenza for poor Brandon.
Yeah, Carson looked
That's
like
going
suffering from-
around.
looks like
Or a
suffering
wind.
from
Actually,
bird flu.
no, a windmill. You know how many windmills kill golden eagles every year? My God. Okay, Mike.
I didn't know that.
Do they
Yeah.
are they like attracted to the spinning?
They
What, like
don't
a
really.
moth
I
to the
don't know
flame?
what it is, but they can hit them, and it's actually a big problem because it'll really f them up, and they are
no.
endangered. Okay,
Okay.
Michael Bloom,
Yes.
you're next. Do you want the person or the animal?
I'm gonna go with animal as well here.
Okay, your animal is the lion.
Oh, just a
Oh, do you need to Google that at home,
yeah,
folks?
Okay, lion. So lion
Now,
is
do you
typically
want the clue or no? And do you need to Google the image?
no. So I know what a lion looks like. I am gonna take the hint because obviously there are like the casual associations with lions, right? Of like brave, majestic, but I feel like your actual descriptor of the lion might shed more light.
Okay, so strong, resilient, leader, charming.
Leader, resilient, charming. Ooh, leader, strong. So I'm around a few names right now, and I'll talk through this out loud for the sake of the podcast, even if it might sacrifice my game when Liana gets it if I get it wrong.
yes.
So I'm thinking about
Ooh.
like Bruce. I'm thinking about Matthew. I'm thinking about maybe even like Jam Jam to a certain extent in terms of just like being very social. I think allow me to be full animorphs here. I think if Matthew transformed into an animal, it would be a lion because of that hair. So I'm going to go Matthew.
Okay, Mike is wrong.
Oh, that's so interesting. So my first
okay.
thought was Matthew too, and I think maybe it's because the beard. I was thinking like the hair.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay, so now I have to. Okay, so he got the hint. So I already have the hint. So,
Yeah, so
now
you
I
can get
have.
1 point, not 2.
I can only get 1 point. Okay, so leader, reliable, charismatic. What was the other one? There was another one.
So it was strong, resilient, leader, charming.
Oh no. Okay. resilient is an interesting one. That
Mhm.
to me stands out. I am going to go. Oh, there's two. Okay. I'm going to go a little bit off the board. If Mike got it wrong, I'm going to think a little differently. I'm going to go with Danny.
Ooh, Liana is wrong. Wow,
Okay.
you two are the reason that women keep getting voted out early because all you
Yes.
see is lion and that big old mane. But you're forgetting that the people that run the lion tribe are the
Are the women.
lionesses. And the answer is our very resilient, strong immunity winner this week. Not phased in the face of passing
Oh.
gas. It's Lauren.
Is it because it begins with an L and ends with an N?
Oh, it ends with S, lioness. No, like Lauren is the leader of her tribe, her kids. She is so strong and she's
Mm.
extraordinarily charming. And unfortunately, she hasn't been given the airtime. So that was a tough one. But if you'll ever meet Lauren, you'll know it's true.
And
So
she does kind of have her own mane in a manner of speaking with just that
yes.
beautiful
Yes.
hair.
Beautiful hair. All
Yeah.
right. So no points on the board. Liana,
Okay.
it's up
Yes.
to you.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going back with the animal, baby. Let's do it.
Okay, so your animal is one of the most popular pet reptiles in the world, the
Okay.
ball python.
Oh boy. I'm gonna need the hint.
Do you need to Google it as well?
I know what a python looks like, but yes, I am gonna Google it because why would I not give myself more information?
Right, right. So the ball python is characterized as misunderstood, harmless, classy.
Classy.
Okay, is
Ooh.
this the banana ball python? Does it
It
matter?
can be whatever type of ball python you want. They're all the same species.
Well, I
just
found a
different
new
breeds.
euphemism.
I just wanted to say banana ball.
My banana ball python.
Yeah, that's what Matt was talking about with his big long rod. Okay. All right. So misunderstood, classy, and
Harmless.
harmless. Who is harmless?
Throw in
Ooh.
magnificent.
Magnificent.
extra
Oh
word.
my goodness.
Magnificent. I really want to go with Jamie. I don't know why, but
Can't use a magic
do.
wand if you don't have arms.
All right, I'm just gonna stick with Jamie.
Wrong.
Yeah, okay.
Mike for the steal.
Okay.
It'll get easier when the people get reduced.
I
too.
know.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
there's
why,
a
that's why
reason
we're going with
started off
animals
strong.
right now.
We should end
All
the
right,
game right
so
now.
magnificent, misunderstood. See, it's tough because like misunderstood, I keep going back to Carolyn, but I wouldn't call Carolyn harmless. She's being perceived as it, but this is more so if
Mhm.
like the ball python was actually venomous instead.
Right.
So
And it's not.
I'm going to say maybe I'll go to the pre-merge here. I'm gonna go with Helen.
You were right to go to pre-jury, but the answer is Josh.
Josh.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going that way with the ball python. Okay.
Okay.
Honestly, that's pretty good though for Josh, especially harmless. Like everybody thought that he was this huge threat.
So
Yeah,
bad.
Yeah.
So
misunderstood.
sneaky.
Everyone
Yeah.
thought, oh, he has this idol. That's
Yeah,
a
he's just
misunderstanding.
Josh.
That's great. It's just Josh.
Just Josh.
Yeah.
It's just Josh.
All right. Next
All right.
is Michael Bloom.
Give me that animal.
The animal is an armadillo.
Armadillo.
Baby.
Give me the descriptor on the armadillo.
Yes. So the armadillo and this person are self-assured, protective, and determined.
Self-assured, protective, and determined. I think this is Jamie.
Oh, no.
Ah!
Are we going to just keep guessing? I'm going to put Jamie as number 18, so we just keep guessing her the whole time.
It's gotta
Liana
be
for the
Jamie.
steal.
Okay. Self-assured. Sarah.
No, this has got to be Heidi. Look at how she handled those advantages. She knew what she was going to do.
Heidi.
She knew how she was going to do it, and she moves forward. She's very determined on the win, and she's very
Mhm.
protective of herself in the game. She's like, I'm gonna ball up when trouble comes and do what I need
Okay.
to do, baby.
I like it.
I
All
like
right.
that too. That fits.
Okay. Next.
Yeah, animal, please. Why would I pick a person? There's dummy animals. And also if you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
Bruce is like injured, strong-headed. I don't know what animal is like that. Of course,
Okay,
Which
yeah.
animal is the most likely to be injured?
Do we agree we're just going to continue going with the animals?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll say animal until Liana and I hold our hands up, a la Danny,
Okay,
to
sounds
Jam
good.
and say, stop, let's
Yes.
do people now.
Yes.
Liana, your animal is the bearded dragon.
Oh my God, no,
Other most
really?
Gilgy!
popular
Oh my
pet.
God,
Gilgy!
Gilgy!
And yes, your mother's lizard. Mother's
Okay.
mother.
I know.
My grandmother.
Your grandma,
some could
yes.
say,
Oh my
yes.
gosh. And I guess that would be your Gilgy would be your aunt then, maybe?
Yes.
If you consider it that way. Okay. So
Ooh,
now
wonderful.
I've hung out with bearded dragon, a specific bearded dragon in the past, but I am gonna go for the hint.
To make sure that not all bearded dragons are like
I don't
Gilgy.
want to stereotype.
Okay. Stoic, observant, and friendly.
That is Gilgy. Yep. Am
I right?
You are so right. Let's see. Who would
It's
I
almost as if I see them almost every day.
right?
Mm.
At their worst,
Um,
usually.
Who does
though, to
Omar
be
see
fair.
almost every day?
Stoic, observant, and friendly. I'm gonna say Helen.
Ooh, you would be wrong,
Ah,
baby.
no.
Okay.
Everyone's okay. Is
There's
Helen the new
mistake.
Jamie? My God.
No,
Okay.
it took one round.
What was it? Stellar, observant. Yeah, you're like the
Stoic.
Survivor fan base. Like, oh my God, one episode passed. Person's purple. This is it.
The new Josh.
All right, so stellar, stoic, and what?
Stoic, observant, and friendly.
Stoic, observant, and friendly. Stoic, observant, and friendly. So I'm trying to think of like who is stoic. It's tough to think about people who like the stoicness is the thing that I'm really trying to revolve around here. But I think observant. I'm thinking back to Sarah noticing the red X on the birdcage and following it to the fake idol. So I'm going to go with her.
A very good guess as well. But the answer is your boy Kane, who also bears a resemblance a little bit to a bearded dragon in the best way. But he's kind of still a lot. He's friendly though. He's not somebody that you don't want to approach. And some could say Canada's a small community, and I've met everybody that lives in Canada and very friendly, as everybody here is. So that is the correct answer. And also for the next round, I'm going to start adding in a second clue to sacrifice another point.
Yes, thank you.
Because we're really bad.
We want the mercy rule.
Yes,
pre
please.
versus post jury will be the second hint that is available for a point loss.
Oh, actually, could we do instead, if you don't mind me substituting here, can we do voted out versus currently in the game? Because that is evenly split, right? 9 have been voted out, 9 are left in the game.
Yes, we can do that as well. I will allow it.
All right.
Okay. The next one is for Michael Bloom. And
all right, give me that animal.
Is, let me pull up my listy, an emperor penguin.
Ooh.
Oh.
All right. Give me a descriptor of the emperor penguin. The only thing I know is that the men sit on the eggs.
Well, they both do sometimes. But gritty, sociable, and clumsy.
First off, I think a penguin would make a better mascot than Gritty. Oh, so this is where Kane would have come into handy because he says he's clumsy and tripping all over everything.
Like
so
Sasquatch.
It was
good thing he's out.
Gritty, clumsy, and what was the third one?
Sociable.
And sociable. Okay. I'm trying to remember. I feel like someone has said that they are clumsy and they're tripping all over everything. That feels like, again, like Kane. Gritty. Oh, wait. Is it Carolyn?
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
Nope.
Oh.
Liana, you can also get your other hint if you'd like.
I'm going to get my other hint. Thank you.
Already out of the game.
Oh, interesting.
Are you going to guess Helen? And if I had said after, you would guess Jamie?
I want to guess Bruce.
It's Bruce!
Yes! When I heard clumsy, I was like, oh no.
Well, there's all these GIFs online of emperor penguins and other penguins just like falling over. There's like a whole video reel of them. You should check them out. Okay. And hopefully we'll never see Bruce fall again.
Yes,
that's
he's
my
going to be
hope.
totally fine if we ever see him again.
All right, if we ever do, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a pretty hefty promise.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Next up is the jackal.
Ooh, the jackal. Okay. First hint, please.
First hint is cunning, social, underestimated.
I was gonna take my second hint, but the two people that I'm really stuck between are both in the same position.
Yep. Take that 50-50.
I'm gonna go with
Shot in
Carolyn.
the dark, baby. Michael for the steal.
I'm going to go with Jam Jam.
You're both wrong. It's
That's not-
Carson.
Yes, Carson. I was between Carolyn and Carson.
He's blinking around.
Yes.
Nobody really knows what
Oh,
he's doing,
interesting.
but he
I was more so about Jam Jam of just like being. I mean, maybe it's also because like maybe I was comparing him to a hyena with the laughing, and he makes everybody laugh.
No, the jackal, it's moving about behind the scenes. It's moving its people around. It's yelping for Jam Jam, yelping for Carolyn to come in on the other side to corner what it needs to and get them out, right?
I love
That's
that.
actually the one that I feel is the most accurate. But
Yeah, that's really good.
nevertheless.
I like that a lot.
Okay, the next one is the panda.
Oh, panda. Clumsy.
All right. Well, the panda certainly brings about an image to me, but I'm going to go with the descriptors here.
So fun, magnetic, and silly.
Ooh. Oh, now this is another one where I'm like, oh, I can't take the hint because I'm between post-merge people. Fun, magnetic, and silly. See, like, silly is more Carolyn to me, but the magnetic feels more Jam Jam to me. I'm just going to go with my gut here and say Jam Jam.
Mike gets 2 points.
Yeah.
We are on the board, baby.
Yeah.
Pan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. That's great. So now we are at 3 points, Liana, 2 points, Mike, several points left, as Jeff would say. So our next animal is the whooping crane.
Ooh.
Make sure you pronounce the H.
Okay. So, is this me or is this Mike? Yeah,
It's
this
you.
is me.
This is
Okay.
you.
So I will take the descriptors, please. Thank you very much.
Tough, loving, practical.
Practical.
I will take the second hint. Thank you very much.
Still in the game, baby.
Okay, still in the game. So the thing is that we have used quite a few of the people who are still in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Tough, loving, and practical.
Practical.
See, this is okay. So we've already taken Jam Jam off the board, Kane's off the board, Carson's off the board, Lauren's off the board, Heidi's off the board. So that leaves Franny, Danny, Jamie. You know I love Jamie.
Our fave,
And-
MVP.
and Carolyn. I'm gonna go with Franny.
Yes, Liana
Yeah.
gets 2 points.
Yeah, I've
She
taken
got the
Franny as well.
loving.
Plus,
I
she
so
is
loving.
tall, much like a crane, right, with those long
Yes.
legs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Quite majestic.
Yes.
All right. And Franny, much taller than you think on the TV, I have to say.
She's,
right,
she's quite tall. Like, even when you see her stand next to Kane and Brandon, like, you can see how tall she is.
Yeah, she was third in line, and she's like right around the same height as them.
Yeah.
Mhm. The next one that we have is an American black bear.
An American black bear.
I was going to
All
say,
right.
so you know it's not Kane, but he's already off the board.
Yes, exactly. Let me hear the descriptions.
We are resourceful, adaptable, and a go-getter.
Wait, did you reveal that you're a black bear?
Is
Ready
that
to take
I am not resourceful. I'm
Adaptable.
not even that much of a go-getter, honestly.
you're a come here. Bring it to me. I'm gonna go with it. I gotta catch up to Liana here, so I gotta take a little bit of a shot in the dark.
If you will.
All right, listen, much like Jam Jam and Carson did when Heidi approached them, I'm going back to this well. I'll go with Jamie.
No!
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 Damn it, Jamie!
Okay, I would like the other hint, please.
We are pre-merge.
Okay.
Or not in the game.
Okay, so that's interesting because otherwise it would have been down to only 2 people. That would have been really helpful.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to cut the 1 point after this.
Yeah.
Aw, sad. Okay, so let's
Congratulations,
see.
Liana. You broke it. You broke the game elements I introduced.
Thank you. I am going to go with Matthew.
Yes, it is Matthew. A real
Resourceful.
go-getter.
Resourceful.
Going wherever they need to do, and sometimes they can just fall out of the
Yeah.
tree. They're doing their
Yeah.
best. All right. The next one is a rabbit.
Aww.
Yeah, do people know what a rabbit is? My
I'm gonna Google it.
It's yours, right?
Oh, it's
Or
me.
Liana's?
Oh, sorry.
Or is it Liana's? I actually don't
Is
know.
it mine?
No, it was.
Liana,
No, it's
Liana
mine.
took the steal.
No, Liana stole. So it is you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's okay. It's me. Oh, wait. Oh, a hint then. Yes, please.
Okay. Lovable, sensitive, and funny. There's no longer the second hint available.
Okay. Lovable, sensitive, and funny. Claire.
The correct answer is not Claire.
Lovable.
If these were true, then
Oh,
my Uber rating would be better.
No, I forgot about someone. Shoot. Please don't be
Love
right.
you, Claire.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if I go to sensitive, I am thinking
No.
about Carolyn being very open with her emotions. So I'm going to go with her.
Matt.
It's Matt.
Oh,
Yeah, because
Because I
the thing
thought
is
about-
about a rabbit is one of the only animals that doesn't make any noise at all, ever. So it can't
Oh.
be Carolyn.
wait, how what?
You don't
don't
think
like
that Matt
silly?
is sensitive and funny and lovable?
I do.
Mike?
I do. I love me some Matt.
Uh,
But I'm
is.
just hung up on the fact. So rabbits are completely silent. They don't make any
unless
noise.
they're about to die, then they scream.
Oh, that's what he did with the papaya.
Yeah, exactly. Need I say more? Yeah.
I forgot he
Wow. God.
Wow.
I would
Freddy's gonna
hate
come
to be
for you.
reincarnated as a rabbit, just thinking about having to live in silence for the rest of my brief
existed.
life.
So sad.
Yeah, the only thing you hear them do is
So how do they
eating their hay.
communicate? Because like they
They
are
probably use
into
nonverbal
population.
communication.
Yeah,
Probably nonverbal
Mike.
communication, like grooming each other, like Okay,
Oh,
moving
boy.
on. The next animal is a toucan.
A toucan. All right, and maybe I'll call an audible here and make things harder for Leon and I, and say this will be the last one where we go off the animal, and we'll just instead go off with the person.
Ooh, okay.
So it is me. I'll go with the descriptors of the toucan.
Okay. Charming, enigmatic, and versatile.
Enigmatic. Huh. Charming, enigmatic, versatile. I mean, like Franny is someone who's very versatile in terms of skills. Or, hear me out, versatile could be someone who swapped to another tribe, perhaps.
You know what? I'm gonna do you a solid. Don't think about that.
Yeah, guess Franny, actually. Guess Franny.
No!
You should do that.
Wow, Liana, you're so good at convincing me.
Thank you.
She is a siren.
What were the three? So versatile, charming, and what was the third one?
Enigmatic.
Enigmatic. I think
I'll also throw in intelligent.
I think
give
I'm
you
gonna
another word.
go with between a couple here.
Who are you between? Tell us, unless you don't want to give Liana a hint.
Give
Nah.
me your hints.
I don't think Liana does anything you say, though, to be honest.
Yeah, now we've truly shown how our in-life dynamic bears out to this game. I am between, obviously, a few of the pre-mergers. I don't know, like, Maddie is probably where my head is at the moment. I think I'm going to go Maddie.
You are wrong.
Ha!
Interesting. I was thinking Maddie, too. So versatile, right, is one of the
Mhm.
words. So that's very interesting to me. Oh, boy. I have absolutely no idea. I'm going to go with Sarah.
The correct answer is another pre-merge girl,
Ah,
Helen.
Helen.
Finally, Helen is the right answer. Helen has a lot going for her in many different ways. You never know what to expect. She's a bit of an enigma, which is why they couldn't trust her completely.
Mm-hmm.
And she's very charming and
Okay,
intelligent.
Helen.
So there we go. Much like a toucan. A
Mm-hmm.
toucan in nature, what do you think a toucan eats? Both of you tell me right now.
Fruit Loops.
Snails.
Oh,
It's
those
French.
are really weird. It's really weird that you said snails because it's part of my punchline, so I hate you. But
I'm sorry,
so
child.
normally think they eat fruit because they are considered a frugivore, which is fruit-eating animals. However, a toucan has a side to them that nobody knows. They can kill animals and eat them, and they eat some insects, especially when they're about to have babies, and they will eat eggs from other animals' nests because
God.
they need that protein, baby.
Gotta get that
So
Damn!
Going for the gains.
Toucans are hardcore.
yeah,
Looking at their
for
macros.
sure. And you don't think that just by looking at them, but they can really fuck you up, you know? Oh,
I mean,
They
they
have
have
those
a
big
gi-
beaks.
we have to
They have
bleep that.
a giant beak, and like it feels like
Oh,
they could
yeah.
smash your head
and
wide
their
open.
beak functions much like the radiator of the car to temperature regulate a little bit.
Really?
What?
Yeah. I once knew a toucan named
Oh.
Papaya, and she was adorable. She's still alive, so it's not like she's dead. But
Jeff, can I offer you this toucan in these trying times?
Papaya was, as they say, strong-willed, you know? All right. The next one is...
All right, so now remember, we're going with person now.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh.
shoot. Okay. Yeah. Person.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So
correct me
there
if
are
I'm
how
wrong
many-
here. So we are left with, in order of boot, we have Maddie, Claire, Sarah, and then of the people that are remaining, Carolyn, Danny, and Jamie, I believe.
Okay. So what we can do now that we're picking the person is you tell me the person you want to pick, and then you pick from the list of animals.
Ooh, I like this.
Okay. So
I like
whose
this
turn is
mostly
it
because
again?
I'm not the one who's going right now.
Liana, you get to pick off that board.
I'm gonna pick Danny.
Okay. So
And-
Danny.
Yes, please describe Danny to me. I
Yeah,
guess.
what
Okay.
3 words were used to describe
Wait,
Danny?
hold on. If I just outright guess, wait, stop. If I just outright guess, do I get 3 points?
Yes.
I'm gonna
yes.
guess the Tasmanian devil.
She's right.
Yes.
Dang it.
Wow, what a steal.
Yeah.
Wow,
My
incredible.
God.
Why would I get Danny described to
Incredible.
me?
Well, yeah, I was going to ask Omar, I guess, the Fruit Loops joke that I made but minutes ago, like how much does a Tasmanian devil, the animal, resemble the one that is associated with the cartoons?
Not at all. 0%.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, actually.
Wait.
It really bothered me a lot. It actually plagued my soul as a child for a long time. I didn't know what was real and what wasn't.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite irresponsible for Warner Brothers.
Another
Yeah.
reason why you need therapy.
Yeah,
Add it to the list.
exactly.
That's the thing.
Unpack
Hey,
that.
you say rabbits don't make noise, but Bugs Bunny won't shut the hell up.
I agree.
Not
He's
a lot of
he's
like
a real
that.
Bugs Bunny is a real rabble rouser, and he would be an all-star on Survivor. That's for sure.
Oh,
Actually,
brand
I'm a bit of a
stealing
Bugs Bunny in my real life, you know.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay. Oh wait, so can we get the descriptors then of a
Yeah.
Tasmanian devil?
So-
What you put?
And Danny and the Tasmanian devil are energetic, fearless, and scrappy.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I can see
Mhm.
that.
All right,
All right.
Mr. Bloom.
I gotta start going for broke here. I'm
Yeah.
very much on the backs of everything. So I'm gonna go with Jamie. Let's get an
Okay.
obvious one out of the way. Give me the GLT, the Golden Lion Tamarin for Jamie.
He makes a comeback. Woo, 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 woo.
'Cause I'm thinking
What?
I was
Look at him
thinking
go.
small, and I was thinking energetic, and that is Jamie. She's always at a 10, right?
Oh,
He is at a
okay,
10,
yeah.
much like a golden line Tamarin. You can't stop them. They're jumping here, they're jumping there, they're jumping everywhere, you know? So that is perfect. And they're bright and vibrant. So this is what I'm saying, folks at home. How dare you say, oh, we need like a rabbit and a cow and a lion and a tiger. Okay. But then do you understand the nuance of these small New World monkeys? Like, I could have picked a marmoset, but they're not colorful and they'll pop like a golden lion tamarin. So you need to get it. Don't get it twisted. Jamie is not a pygmy marmoset. She is not a cotton top tamarin. She is not a
Brandon Cotton Top Tamarin.
Yeah, exactly. She is not a common tamarin or common marmoset. She is a golden lion tamarin. Don't get it twisted.
I love this. Do you think New World monkeys is this like new school Survivor where like there are no old world monkeys? They can't play in the new world monkeys?
Yes, and it's true because they can pass herpes to one another and kill the other one. So no mixing of old world and new world monkeys, please.
I mean, that's the
Not what I
excuse as to why Jeff keeps changing the game. Well, the chance of herpes is really why we have to keep reinventing the game. Too many strains.
Yeah, that's the only season you want to get voted out pre-merge. You make it to the merge, you're dying of herpes. So sorry, old world and new world monkeys. And actually, trivia question. Which is it, old world or new world monkeys that can pass herpes to you that will kill you?
New?
No,
That's not. It wasn't a no. It was a old world or new world.
Yeah,
It's not a yes or no
new
question.
world? New?
Oh, new
Does
world.
it
No,
sounds
I
like no, because that's what
refuse.
I'm
you
really
gonna
thinking.
take the old world, Mike?
I guess I'll take the old. Yeah.
Mike is right. So
Oh.
yeah, it's the macaques. If you get bit by a macaque, there's a chance you're gonna die of herpes B, and there's nothing you can do about it, baby.
My
Oh.
That's
God.
why. Do you guys know about the IKEA monkey?
There was a monkey in IKEA.
You don't know about the IKEA?
Wow,
This might
Liana,
be
you're
only
so good
Canadian
at context
Thank
clues.
you. I know. Thank
Did you hear about the
I'm a
red
genius.
ball? It's a ball that is red. I've heard
Wow.
of it.
So this made national news in Canada. I guess it didn't make it in the States, but there was a monkey called a macaque, a Barbary ape, as they say, that was found in an IKEA wearing a fur coat, and he was confiscated. His name was Darwin, and he now lives at a primate sanctuary. I've actually met him a few years after the incident, and there was a long legal battle by the owner, and I use that in quotation marks because you shouldn't be owning a macaque, you crap bag. And she was not allowed to have the monkey back, but that species of macaque can carry herpes B, which if it infects a human will almost certainly kill you. And that's why it should also not be a pet. My God.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And it doesn't
I'm-
kill the monkey.
I'm just more obsessed with the idea of the monkey being found wearing a fur jacket.
Yeah,
There's
he
got to
was
be
wearing
a
fur
story
coat.
there.
You actually should Google that. It's actually
Yeah.
quite a cute image, but
I like the idea of going to
nevertheless.
IKEA, getting a Calax and Hep B all at the same time.
Oh my God, Darwin looks so cute.
yeah.
Oh, great. Now I need
yeah.
to see IKEA monkey coat. Is that what you
Yeah.
No,
Googled?
I googled Darwin fur jacket.
Wait, I've seen this before.
Yeah,
So I-
how could you not have? It's
Well,
everywhere.
the only reason I remember, I don't know if it was based on it. No, it can't be, right? Because this was from 2012. Because I know there was a Simpsons storyline where Bart found a monkey in a basket at Pottery Barn. But no, this seems to be very much post-dating that. Oh,
Was that post Good Simpsons era? Because I don't
yes.
remember that.
No, actually, it was the episode with the foster home where Bart ends up getting like a disease from the monkey for picture day.
Oh,
I guess I'm
yeah,
getting
yeah.
not herpes. Oh my
I
God.
think that was before.
Look at this. that was old world Simpsons.
Yeah, old world Simpsons.
I'm
is
just
better than
imagining
new world
Angelina
Simpsons.
saying, "Darwin, can I have your jacket?"
Wait, can somebody please make that a meme?
That's so
Please.
cute.
Please
Oh
make
my
that a meme.
God.
Somebody tweet it to us.
Please
if you've made
tweet
it
us
this far
the
into the
Angelina
podcast.
scene with Darwin sitting there.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
All right, so now it's back to Liana, right? You get to
Yeah. So
guess.
Mike's
now
making
that
a comeback, Liana. He's
now
on
that
your
you
heels. He's
added
nipping at
something that
them.
I'm probably gonna have a dream about a monkey giving me herpes to add to
Yeah,
my
he's
list
a little-
of anxieties.
Yeah, and he's a little meerkat nipping at your heels right now, Mrs. Red-tailed Hawk, as they say.
Ah,
Yes.
it's still, I think it's still my Twitter header picture.
As it should be, because
As-
that's what
I
you
know.
are.
I know. Okay, so here's the problem. I'm trying to think like, okay, let's say I pick Carolyn. Like, what animal stands out to me as Carolyn? I don't know that much. There's nothing that's like standing out to me.
Do you have to Google these animals, Liana?
I do. A scorpion. What even the hell is that? Okay. So I'm going to go with, you know what? I don't want to get Carolyn wrong. So I'm going to let Matt or Mike fumble on that one. So I'm going to go with, how about Maddie?
Okay. So, Maddie,
Yes.
do you want the clue or do you
I
not?
guess so, because I don't know what to do. So yes, let's go with that.
Fearless, iconic, and powerful.
Okay, that's helpful. I'm going to
Mhm.
go with the Kestrel. What is a kestrel?
So a kestrel is a small species of North American falcon that
Okay.
primarily feeds on small rodents and insects and is one of the only animals in the animal kingdom to be able to hover in flight. The other bird
Whoa.
is, do you know what that
The
is?
hummingbird.
Yes, hummingbird and
Yes.
the kestrel. And you're wrong.
Yeah.
Ah!
As soon as he started
Although
saying, I
I
was like,
could
oh.
see an argument for it, honestly. Like in another world, I would have
Yeah.
done that for her for sure.
Yeah.
That's why she was on the decoy list, to be fair.
Oh, a
Yeah.
decoy. Okay, we'll mark that one off, everybody.
All right. All
All
right.
right,
So
Bloom,
I'm
this
going
is
to
your
go with.
chance.
Give me the descriptors again.
Fearless, iconic, and powerful.
So I'm thinking iconic. I have to go with like a name from the list that I am most familiar with. Give me that Black Mamba, baby.
Ooh, no.
Ah,
But I will say that neither of you were ever going to get this one, to be
Yeah,
fair,
okay.
because
Yeah.
people don't understand how iconic this animal is. And I also fear, sometimes these survivors may not be happy with their animals. And I'm sorry if you're not, but they are meant in a good way. And if you don't like your animal, maybe you should look them up and be more appreciative of what they are. Because the only animal that sucks is a dog. That's it. And I didn't give any of you a domestic dog. So don't forget that.
Homer,
Now,
I want this emblazoned on your grave. The only bad animal is a dog.
now that being said, Maddie should be very proud of her animal. And I don't know if she will be, but she better be. It is the mantis shrimp, which is
Oh.
extraordinarily powerful.
Oh, yeah, I've read an Oatmeal article about this. Like, mantis shrimps seem like they have so much going for them.
Yeah, they punch with like enormous G-force, and that's how Maddie came to this game. She's throwing punches, she's doing what she wants, and maybe sometimes it doesn't work out, but she's there to play, baby. And that's like a mantis shrimp. And if I went to the aquarium recently, and the animal that I spent the longest time looking at was the mantis shrimp because it's so fun. It just like goes around, it does whatever it wants, it's burrowing, it's giving its little googly eyes, like very fun animal. And I didn't even know how cool they were until I saw it at the aquarium. Much like people don't know how cool Maddie is because they saw her for a hot second. There we go.
Yeah, and I think her online personality is very much like the colors of the mantis shrimp, which is just like all
She's
spanning
punching those perverts left and right on Twitter.
as you should. Everybody punch a pervert today for me.
Wait, is it punch a pervert day today?
Yeah, you
That's
didn't
my favorite
get it on the
holiday.
calendar.
Perfect. Okay, great.
All right.
Well, that's
So now we have Claire, Sarah, and Carolyn. So I'm gonna go Carolyn here. I have to.
Okay. Tell me more.
So I'm nipping at Liana's heels. How far behind am I?
So right now the score is 9 points Liana, 5 points Mike.
Oh, okay, so I have to go for broke here.
I think you go for broke.
Yeah, so I am going to. I'm thinking about this. Now, the cockatoo, the Moluccan cockatoo, like definitely has Carolyn vibes to me. And if I'm trying to metagame this, of course you are cockatoo boy and you love Carolyn. So that makes me think like, of course you would want to give her an association to one of your favorite animals. But I'm also looking at some of these other ones like the scorpion. There's a classic tale of the scorpion and the frog about how like, why did you not think I'd sting you? That does feel like Carolyn's game. Of course, again, there's the idea of the black mamba, which is like this dangerous snake. But I gotta stick with the cockatoo here.
So the Black Mamba forever is memorialized as Brenda Lowe. So I don't think that's ever going to be a thing moving forward here. She's the Black Mamba. She's the King Cobra. And you know what Carolyn is?
Oh, sorry, Omar died on the air. Well, we know what to put on his grave.
He blew his speaker out.
And the Moluccan cockatoo is one of the loud. Okay, so also I should clarify because this podcast is coming out at a time where I recently put out a tweet saying that cockatoos are perverts also, and I want to clarify
Do we
that
punch
is
him?
not.
Do we need to punch a cockatoo today?
That is not why Carolyn is a cockatoo. Just to be clear, but cockatoos and Carolyn are both very expressive. cockatoos, they're like moving their heads all around. They're putting their crest up. They're screaming. They're actually the loudest, one of the loudest animals in the world. The Moluccan cockatoo's scream at maximum pitch is as loud as a jet engine. And being somebody that was in a room cleaning a bunch of them,
Oh my God.
I certainly heard that at times.
Earplugs.
They are, yeah, we were actually supposed to wear earplugs, but I never did because it could cause hearing damage.
But how are you able to like hear us today if you were sitting in a room full of jet engine birds screaming?
I don't have great hearing, unfortunately. So Moluccan cockatoos, they're expressive, they are smart, they are very calculated, and they are very loud, and they are very loving as well. Like cockatoos are termed the cockatoomer because they don't detach themselves from people. And now what people also need to know is you should never pet a cockatoo below the neck because everything below the neck is an erogenous zone, and you could JO your cockatoo and not even know it. I have to tell owners this all the time. So this is more of a PSA, but I'm not saying that translates to Carolyn. I'm talking about cockatoos.
Okay. Putting that aside.
Yes.
I'm
It
just
is safe to
imagining-
hug Carolyn. That's
exactly.
fine.
It's just like, no, don't touch me down there. You
And
don't know what's
don't
gonna
pet
happen.
Carolyn on the head. She probably would not like that. So, but a cockatoo,
Yeah, really, it's a
absolutely
lose-lose
would.
for Carolyn. If you pat her on the head, it just feels super demeaning. Anywhere below the neck, though, and
Yeah, and then you know what?
things like
Also,
it,
people
Harry.
out there in the chat being like, "Why didn't you just say cockatoo?" Do you know how many types of cockatoos there are? And Carolyn is not the white cockatoo. She's not the umbrella cockatoo that has one color and a little bit of pea yellow under the wings. Carolyn is a rose pink Moluccan cockatoo, and then you're like, oh, well, why didn't you make her a lead beater's cockatoo, which is also pink? Maybe because the Moluccan cockatoo has a bigger personality than a lead beater's cockatoo.
Is there
So
like a
true.
specific person in your life that responds to these types of things with you with this voice?
I don't know. It's Twitter.
Laughing a little too hard. Okay.
Yeah, it's another bird.
All right. I'm ready to close out this game. So I would
right, let's
like,
do it.
I'm going to pick Claire and I'm going to pick the hint because I need to limit the number of points that Mike can get.
Right. So we are at now 9-8.
Yes.
Leon and a Mike.
Ow.
Yes.
And Claire's descriptors, as well as the animal, are clever, mischievous, and hilarious.
Okay. Great. I'm going to go.
Leon, what
with-
animal's the funniest to you? At that
So
The
this
rock
animal also for
pigeon.
more. Oh. They're not mischievous at all. They're angels. Absolutely not. Okay, moving on,
Okay.
Mike, for the steal.
All right. So what were the three descriptors again?
Clever, mischievous, and hilarious.
Hilarious. What animal is the most hilarious to me? I'm gonna go with I mean, there is. I'm trying to think about like if there are any monkeys left. I'm just looking up one quick name of it. No, that's not it. I'm gonna go with the zebra.
Ooh, that is incorrect. The correct answer is the New Zealand Kia. Now, the Kia is a parrot with a very long beak, and it's known. So for a while in New Zealand, farmers were like being like, "There's a chunk of flesh missing out of my sheep this morning," and it was only till they planted cameras that they realized these flocks of Kias would come down, sit on the sheep's back, and then just eat a piece of their back and fly away.
Ew.
And Kias also are very known for like breaking into like campsites and like stealing camper supplies. They like to like tear apart the weather stripping on your car. They also are very good in zoos at working together to escape cages. So you have to use padlocks, not little clippies. They're
Wow.
extraordinarily smart and they're so funny and clownish and it's hilarious. But they can also be a little mischievous, like Claire in an Uber when she lowers your Uber rating.
That is so interesting. I'm imagining like a Kia at camp, like
Or at IKEA.
yeah, a Kia in
Ooh.
IKEA. Like
In a fur
but
coat, yeah.
Where's Matt's bag? He lost his shot in the dark. The Kia took it. It's holding it in its beak the entire time while Matt's sitting there waiting for it.
We love it. We love it. Poor Matt. Oh,
All right, so I am left here with Sarah.
Yes.
yeah.
I am 1 point behind. So
You're
I'm gonna
1
go.
point
I'm gonna get the
behind.
details here
Yeah.
with the descriptors to finish things off.
Okay. So the descriptors for Sarah and her animal are tough, elegant, and unexpected.
Unexpected. Interesting. An unexpected animal. I mean, jaguar, I know, has the spots to blend into its background. Same thing with the zebras, so maybe it's unexpected in that way. Though the Sitatunga I'm looking at, like, also has those stripes as an antelope. Clever is another one you said?
No, tough. Not to say that she's not, but my words are tough, elegant, and unexpected.
Elegant. Okay, this is where I get to read these animals for filth as who looks the most elegant.
And
I
just give yeah, what are your top 3 suspicions so that the audience knows and
Yeah,
kind of
I'll
knows
get
what to
get a little
decide?
peek into my headspace here. So I was thinking initially unexpected of like a pelican, because like I don't know, I'm sure you have some sort of fact about how a pelican is like a serial killer of women, and like, oh, we should watch out for the pelicans, even though they're goofy birds. But it doesn't seem
Sometimes they
very
have pouch mites.
yeah. Oh God.
Yeah.
That sounds worse than herpes from a monkey. So I don't think that it's that. Elegant, you just kind of showed your hand a little bit with like the rock pigeon saying like they're cute, but actually no, cute doesn't mean elegant to me. I am kind of looking back at the Sitatunga at this like antelope that does look like a little majestic, a little elegant on like the skinny legs that it walks on. Though I don't know, like a jaguar or a cougar could also be a pretty elegant beast, right? Kind of like commander of their territory. Tough, unexpected. I have to go with, since it's the last one, go to the end of the alphabet and I'll say zebra. Final answer.
Ooh, wow, you were so. Oh, actually, I can't say.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. Jaguar.
No, you're
Jaguar.
both
No.
wrong. Ah, you were so
Ah.
close, Mike. It was the Sitatunga. It
Ah,
is the
Oh.
elegant, very tough, sturdy animal, but also unexpected in that it is semi-aquatic. It can live in partially in the water and on
Oh.
land, and yet it's an antelope. How wild is that?
That's cool. I love that.
that's wild. So it has like a summer home and a winter home.
Does it
Yeah.
dig? Does it like to dig? Because I feel
No,
like okay.
no, it's not a digger. But their feet, their hooves are really flat, so they can like kind of walk in the marsh really well. And
Mm,
Sarah's unexpected because there's a lot more to her than meets the eye as well.
I love that.
That's
Mhm.
amazing. Wow. Well, we were able to make it through. You know, I think cumulatively we probably got like a third of the cast.
Hooray!
Yeah, but
We-
9 points, Liana, Queen Mother wins.
Yes. Thank you.
But Mike
Queen stays
Bloom
queen.
with an almost come from behind victory. Very impressive.
Trying to be my own Sitatunga and be unexpected there.
Mhm.
All right. Well, to finish things off, Omer, let us shine a spotlight on you, my friend. Of course, at the end of this podcast, we usually give time to our guests to dedicate a charity or cause that is important to them. I would love to hear from you. Is it animal related? Is it something else? What would you like to highlight this week?
Yeah, so I have 2. One is self-serving, one is not. I would like people to consider donating to Wild Ontario, which is a organization that helps take care of under or like a non-releasable birds of prey, and it helped train me to be the veterinarian that I am today. And I
Aw.
wouldn't have done it without that organization that I volunteered with for 8 years. So
Aw.
that's great. You can check them out. It's rwildontario.ca. And I also need everybody to tweet at Tim Hortons and raid their social media to bring back their white hot chocolate, because it is unconscionable that they would get rid of it, and I need everybody's help.
Wait.
I
Okay.
got that drink every morning with half coffee in it for the last 10 years, and they're going
Oh,
to just cut it off right now
no.
after the holy month of Ramadan, and I just find out in the drive-through, and then I go to another drive-through thinking maybe that place is just out of it, and then they say no, we're all out of it and we're not doing it anymore ever again. I am pissed, and I need everybody to say something.
Wow. This is incredible. I believe a first for people to say, hey, could we
I don't care if you're American. Speak up.
Yeah.
Tweet at Tim
Yeah.
Hortons Canada. I don't care.
I
I've
love
dealt
this.
with food items being discontinued, and it's like the worst thing imaginable.
Truly, truly.
Well, this is nice. I think we could sort of maybe deviate Survivor fans away from like petitioning Jeff Probst, right? About like, stop doing all these twists, bring back the final 2, do the credits again, et cetera, and like try to make change happen in the world by
Mhm.
directing Tim Hortons to bring back what sounds to be like a dish that is as delectable as your presence today, Omer.
Thank you for having a platform. to bring awareness to this issue.
Well, outside of going after major Canadian brands for their menu items, what else would you like to plug? What are you doing on social media?
You can follow me on Twitter at Omar Zaheer DVM and harass Tim Hortons more,
Mhm.
or Instagram at OZaheer24. I have nothing interesting going on at the moment other than living my life, doing my job.
Yes.
Liana, what do you have going on?
You can follow me on Twitter at Liana RHAP. Drag Race is on a hiatus, but we'll be back for All Stars and Masked Singers going strong.
There we go. You can follow me at a Mike Bloom type. Mention my interview with Brandon before. Really nice insights into his game, both with the first idol play and the second idol play that ended up sending him home. But really nice talking with Brandon, as well as all the stuff I have going on with post-show recaps. Mrs. Davis, which is like a wild, wacky sci-fi show on Peacock from Damon Lindelof and Tara Hernandez, just dropped its first 4 episodes. I'm covering Barry with LaTanya Starks. We finished up coverage of Star Trek Picard, which we did with Jessica Leese and Rob Cesternino as a special guest, and The Mandalorian. So lots of stuff happening over there. That's going to do it for this week on the B&B. Next week, we had the B&B, we had the P&P, but I suppose with our guests here, we're going the O and O, as we're going from Omer to Owen. Owen Knight is going to be the guest next week. Actually, as we're talking right now, just actually posted his little time hop year ago photos from leaving to play Survivor. So it'll be nice to reflect a year after the fact on, everything going on with season 44, how it compares to 43 in both the similarity and challenges and otherwise, as we look ahead to see what is going to happen in the wake of Brandon's Blindside here. If you have thoughts about games that you want us to play, RHAPBNB at gmail.com or hashtag RHAPBNB. We're accepting to any and all suggestions, and any and all suggestions of animals too, I suppose. Maybe Omer less so. I think he's very concretely set in the animal comparisons, but I'd love to hear what you all think as well about who looks like what, who resembles what, who gives communicable diseases to what. So that's going to do it for this week's B&B. Next week, Owen Knight, we break down episode 9 of Survivor 44. Thank you all so much for listening. Special thanks to everyone at RHAP behind the scenes for making this possible, and Will from America for his fantastic theme song. Until next week, we'll check you out at your next stand.